Hello, we're here in Suffolk, Virginia, at AMADASIndustries headquarters with one of our new 2130 combines. And we're just going to take a walk around this machine and show you some of the new and interesting features and some operational settings, some maintenance points to look at, and hopefully this will answer questions that you may have on this machine. We'll begin with daily maintenance. And you'll notice there is no CV drive line here. It's just a standard equal angle drive line. It still needs to be greased in the front and the rear yoke. Just nowhere near the volume of grease that we're accustomed to with the CVs. Other grease things to keep in consideration. These pivot points here on your hitch is one grease point here and another grease point here and here. It is very important to keep these lubricated. This hitch is constantly rotating back and forth and pivoting. There can be a lot of wear. There are also replaceable bushings inside those pivot points if things do get a little too worn out. Equal angle drive line with just two grease points. Your main gearboxes here have sight glasses. You want to keep your oil at least halfway up those sight glasses. Inside this shield is a double joint that connects the two boxes. And you have everything lined up just right. You have access to your grease fittings through these three holes. Shielding is a little new on this machine. This shoes will come back and then out of your way. Inside here, you're going to need to put a little grease to your one-way clutch and just check chain tension. Following along the body of the combine, this is still pretty standard. You've got your drive chains to keep an eye on, your sprockets to check for wear. This is 80 chain on your picking cylinders. Come back to your jack shaft. They're taking the main power to the picking cylinders. That is 80 heavy. So that's a new change for this year. Again, with our disc separator, we have a friction clutch to drive that. Do not lubricate this clutch. We have several speed pickups on this machine. We'll get into that in more detail later, but you need to check and see that you have good clearance or good close tolerances on those speed pickups when they're running. Of course, we can look into our cross auger, see if we have any trash that needs to be emptied out of that. In the past, there's a quick release handle down here to open up that door. In years past, I always told you to come in, remove the inspection door, and look up into the disc separator. You can still do that, but we have another feature that makes that a little easier to deal with now. We have a hinged tailboard. It's a latch on each side. Twist that to the left, set to the left, and the thing just right, and your tailboard will drop, giving you full access to the bottom of your disc separator shafts and your stemmer bottom. Very easy to clean things out if you need to do that. Put that back up, just grease up, twist your handles. Right rear of the combine, you'll notice our drive setup is a little different here than it has been in the past. There is no long twisted single groove belt running the separator cylinders. This drive is set up more akin to our self-propelled combines. You have a chain drive from the accelerator running the separator cylinders, and there is a pin clutch that's running that. That does need to be greased. That's what's going to prevent any damage if your separator cylinders have the potential to get locked up. We're still using our single chain drive on the disc separator. Occasionally you will need to loosen these 5 bolts down here, raise this bar up with this plastic guide as it wears. Most of your day-to-day slack can be adjusted with these sort of cammed idlers here, and loosen up this half-inch bolt, twist that around, get the tension out of your, or excuse me, clip tension in your chain. Conveyor belt, it's a 36-inch belt instead of the 30 that we've been accustomed to. You're going to unload peanuts significantly faster than what we had done in the past. Having to make adjustments on this conveyor if you need to track it. It's done in a similar fashion, although the adjustment looks a little different. You're just going to loosen or tighten these bolts here as need be to move this shaft in and out to track your belt. One other belt that's different, main drive belt. Here's a 5-groove belt instead of a 4-groove belt. We also have what we're calling an auto tensioner. Here you can set primary tension, and that's going to give as the combine is loaded. Combines do come with their own specialty wrench for adjusting that. To properly adjust that, we have a hex built into this end that you can use to loosen this up just a little bit. Then put your adjuster on. First, you're going to want to pull it forward just a little bit so you can release the tension off this palm. Release the palm. You can drop the tension off your belt. If you have to do anything with your belt. And we're just going to pull this back up. Drop your paw down so it'll catch. And then we can tighten this back up. While we're here, one other point to consider. The tank actually will slide forward when you need to get up into the body of the combine to access cylinders and springs. There's a safety strut on both sides of the combine that will need to be removed before you can move the basket. The right side, there's a little dirt shield you have to get out of the way. So can you pull? Pull the front of the strut out and then pull the strut forward. Do that on both sides, and now you're ready to move your basket, your tank forward. Before you're able to actually move your tank, we have a manual selector valve. Its normal position is going to be down here for conveyor swing. To pull this detent, rotate the handle up, lock it in tank slide position. After you move your struts, then you can now move your tank. When you get done, put that back down into conveyor swing position. You do need to get into your combine. You do not have to move the tank to access the front cylinders. Climb up here. This front shield is hinged on these combines. Similar stop on the opposite side. Raise that up, pin it up out of the way. Gives you sufficient access down to your first and second cylinder. You roll that curtain up out of the way. Look at access here. This ladder swings out. Push your stop into the spring-loaded clips. And then we'll climb up to the top. You need to get down, look at the cylinders. Just raise up this door. This catch is going to come up, secured there in that lock. When the basket is pulled forward, this gives you quite a significant amount of access. You need to get to your separator cylinders themselves. Pull back hatch is hinged. Raise that up. And you have a chain carabiner here. Use grab the handle or through this hole here to secure the door up. If you do need to get inside the tank, there is an access panel here toward the back of the tank. A series of bolts you need to take out around the perimeter, and that panel simply moves out of the way. You have access to get into the tank. Get down, just pop this cord, put it back in its stowed position. All right, now just a brief discussion on general settings. There's nothing tremendously different on how you're going to operate this machine fundamentally than what you were doing with a 2110 or 2120. However, most anything you're going to adjust, you're going to have the ability to adjust from in the cab. Your overhead strippers. Number one, you see an actuator here. Number two, actuator for that is here. Most cases, number one overhead, half engaged, 3/4 engaged if need be. These machines, you will notice, engage stops about halfway of this slot. That is as far as it needs to go. Don't think that if you pull this, you disconnect the actuator and pull this thing further down, it's going to be beneficial. It is not. You do not want to over-engage the overheads. Combine does have 2 sets of breast teeth. These are still manually adjusted. Is that number 1 here? Number 2. As far as picking height control goes, you're really not going to use your 3-point hitch to set height. You're going to adjust your 3-point hitch to get a good running angle on your driveline. Hold that reasonably close to straight. The benefits of this combine, here is a feeder house design for the head. We have a pair of cylinders here on the front of the combine. It's going to allow the head to pivot around the front cylinder. This allows the body of your combine to stay level while you're operating. This has shown improvements to overall separation where you can keep the machine level. Your cleaning air, still in most cases you're going to want to run that 60-70% open. This is operated with an additional actuator. Again, all done from the cab. But here's your indicator if you're looking at the combine while you're out and about. There is a cross auger door alarm, similar to our previous combines. One additional actuator here on the elevator fan, around the back side, controlling the system. Again, like usual, half, 2/3 open is probably sufficient on this. One other point that makes clean out easy, or if you have got some foreign material hung up in this combine and it's obstructed your cross auger, we have a quick release door on the cross auger. So we have 4 over center latches. And there you go. If you do need to slide your tank forward, before you do that, I recommend swinging your conveyor out to the side. It's possible for that to get hung in some shields if you do not swing it out first.